Good evening, sunshines, and welcome to the 2020 National Night Out. Now, my name is Bobby Ruffin. I'm with Burlington Recreation and Parks. I'm currently serving as the director of the Mako Bigelow Community Center at North Park, but tonight I'm actually your MC for this program, so I'm excited to be here in this capacity. We know that National Night Out is a great evening, all different kinds of festivities in the community normally, and I've attended some, but I wasn't aware of the history of National Night Out. So just a little bit of history of its background. It actually started back in 1984, where community watch groups and law enforcement, city officials, and community members got together in neighborhoods and they interacted in different ways, whether that was a block party, ride-alongs, cookouts, all of those good things. So typically we would see those things going on in Burlington this evening as well as all across the nation. But today, because of COVID-19, some things have shifted. So we're here together virtually celebrating National Night Out. Now, we actually still get to hear from some city officials tonight. And so at this time, we're going to see some pre-recorded videos with special messages for you all.
National Night Out is a time when neighbors from all across our city come together and connect. It's one of my favorite times to see you in your neighborhoods and try some of that amazing food that you always cook up. We hate that we can't be together physically this year, but we are grateful that you have taken time to join us on this Zoom meeting and come together virtually to learn more about your city and community.
The National Night Out program has been going on since the mid-1980s, and really for the last 15 years. Burlington has continued to grow its program. It's gone to a number of different communities, had wonderful contact with our residents, which had a chance to speak to our elected officials, give them ideas, and really talk about the importance of public safety. While 2020 obviously is different, it's not going to end our streak, and we're going to continue to have this event this year, just in a very different manner.
National Night Out is a night we look forward to each year to connect with the residents throughout our city. Unfortunately, our in-person visits to your neighborhood were prevented by the coronavirus pandemic. This year, we are, however, excited to have found a way to stay in touch and to safely connect with you to share the story of the city departments that strive every day to serve our residents.
Welcome, Burlington, to this year's virtual version of National Night Out. We're so very sorry that we can't be with you this year and enjoy the time in your communities and in your homes and at your neighborhood parties. We love the food, we love the ice cream, we love the camaraderie, but this year we just have to do it virtually. For that, we appreciate you for supporting the event. We appreciate our police department. We look forward to a time soon when we can interact with you and spend time together once again. For now, stay safe. We look forward to seeing you at some event in the future when we can shake your hand and tell you face to face how much we appreciate you.
Good evening, good neighbors of Burlington. I'm so sorry that we can't be together again in person and share bread and food and good conversation. These are hard times for people who like to go out and meet and greet their neighbors. But we very much appreciate the fact that you have been taking care of each other in spite of this problem that we have. We're hoping that COVID will be over soon, and I think that as long as we keep up wearing the masks and being socially distant, that we will see the light at the end of the tunnel. So anyway, I'm missing you this year, but next National Night Out, I'm really hoping that we can be together again. Have a good fall, good holidays, and a good new year.
All right, a big thank you to our council members and elected officials for your messages. At this time, we're actually going to hear from our police chief, Chief Jeffrey Smythe.
Bobby, I appreciate that. Welcome everybody to our first and really hopefully our last Zoom National Night Out. We really want to, like all the council members said, we really want to be back out in the field. We want to be in your neighborhoods. We want to shake hands and look in the eye and answer your questions and celebrate successes over the last year. That doesn't work so well in this format, but this is, I think, the best that we can do under the circumstances. I want to thank council for their support all year long. That's one of the things we go out into the field and talk about is the great city of Burlington, how everybody pulls together. You see our team of firefighters here helping us out tonight, as well as Parks and Rec stepping in. We appreciate Bobby's role in this. I think the mayor and Mayor Pro Tem are on the call with us tonight. They've got a city council member in about 50 minutes. So we're squeezing a bunch in here tonight, but I appreciate everybody doing that. As a matter of introduction for the police department, so I'm Jeff Smythe, I'm the police chief. I am available to every single one of you. There's 55,000 people that live in the city of Burlington, and any one of you on any given day, if you've got an issue, a question, or a concern, you can pick up the phone and call the office. And if it's Monday through Friday, somebody will be here and answer the phone call. If it's a weekend or at night, other staff in communications will answer your call, and we'll get you, the help you need as quickly as you can possibly get that. In order to do that, we have 139 police officers, about 35 professional staff that include the telecommunicators and the dispatch center that are available to take your 911 calls. We come out to about 80,000 calls for service a year, including self-initiated activity like traffic stops or crashes that we see, driving down the road, those kinds of things. So we're readily available to help you. You might not know that Burlington is an accredited police department. We've been accredited for 31 years. Our accreditation cycle is actually coming up. We're going to have an on-site in November. That means that police professionals from around the country are going to be looking at our data, looking at our reports. They look at stuff behind the scenes every year, but then every 4 years they do an on-site where, absent COVID, they would be coming here, but they're going to dial in and do some Zoom meetings, and y'all are welcome to participate in that as well. So those are the quick overview of things to come, and we'll spend the next 45 minutes bouncing back and forth between police and fire and community members talking about the great things that are going on in Burlington. So thank you.
All right, thank you, Smythe. At this time, we're going to hear from our new fire chief, Mr. Jay Mevin.
Bobby, thank you for that introduction, and good evening, everyone, and I appreciate you all being in attendance. I was recently promoted to fire chief for the city of Burlington on September 1st, 2020, and so far it's been an amazing opportunity. I'm glad to work with the staff that I have here. Everybody received me with welcome and open arms, so it's been a great return home, per se, is what I would say. I echo a lot of the same things that Chief Smythe said as far as our availability and openness to work with you all and to be with you all. I also expressed the same sentiment that City Council expressed in the video. So I hate that we're in a COVID situation. Typically, we're out among the community members as well and enjoying the same food and drinks that everyone else is. And hopefully next year we won't have it this way. Open for that a lot. But I look forward to the questions tonight, and if we don't get them all answered or there's future questions that are developed as a result of some of the responses, my number's available, my staff's available, so please feel free to reach out.
Well, thank you, Chief Mevin. Now, typically, y'all, at a national night out, you get to ask questions to law enforcement, and we can't do that face-to-face tonight, but we do have some questions from the community. So we're going to get into those. Okay, the first question is for Chief Smythe. This is from a church in our community. The question reads, what role can we play in helping young people who have made mistakes and gotten into trouble with correcting the course and getting back on the right track?
That's a great question. So I think for a church group, y'all might be in a unique position where you've got better resources, better organization, and a number of people to bring solutions to the table. So two of the areas that are really lacking in Burlington to help our teenagers are, first, we need mentors, especially male mentors who can mentor young people. There's a vetting process, background, and some training, but there are programs that are already in existence and they just need volunteers. So, realistically, if every church of a decent size could just produce one or two mentors and have those people volunteer in our community, that would make a significant impact in the lives of young people that are struggling and maybe making some poor choices. And with that mentor in their life, they could make some better choices. The second area is in community service. So there's only 1 or 2 locations that are set up to host community service. So when kids get in trouble and they go to teen court says you need to maybe pay restitution, and there's a program that helps them earn that money, and they do community service. But we have to have a supervisor for the community service program, and that's where you would come in. You would say, every Thursday afternoon or evening from 5 o'clock to 8 o'clock, we're going to do community service. It might be picking up trash. It might be working at the church. Any number of activities. And if you chaperone the youth that come to do their community service, that's a thing that's missing in our community. And any church could do this anywhere across the community. To have them decentralized in a number of places helps for people who maybe don't have the transportation resources. So be a mentor, host a community service location, and then as the kids maybe get younger, the biggest thing we can do is help them to learn to read on grade level. So young children to elementary school kids, we need to help them with reading programs. So if the church hosted a reading program, maybe donated to the Partnership for Children, donated time at the library, donated time or participated in programs with the school system to read to kids, all of those help kids to be reading on grade level, which really matches up with success later in school and later in life. So those are the 3 things I think that specifically church groups could do. And if you're not in a church group and you're an individual, you can likely do some of those same things. So mentorship, community resources, and reading programs. That would be what I would suggest.
Thank you for that, Chief Smythe. Sounds like what you're saying is build some relationships with these young people, and I totally agree with that.
Yeah, that's right up Recreation and Parks Avenue, isn't it, Bobby?
Oh, yeah.
They come to you. Yeah, go there to North Park and volunteer, right?
Come to me. All right, we have another question here. This is on the fireside, so this is for you, Chief Nevin. Says, is there any equipment that would make your jobs safer, more productive for both police and fire?
Thanks for that question, Bobby. And our equipment is constantly being revamped and reevaluated and evaluated on a daily basis. Typically, when you see us, we're wearing some bulky gear, a helmet, a mask, and a big air tank on the back. So the trends and the changes that come along with that are infinite, and they have changed a lot. In fact, I'll let Assistant Chief Travis Handy speak a little bit about the changes that we've made recently.
Thanks, Chief. So that's a really good question about our equipment, and one of the things that we've done over the past year is we've worked to develop a strategic plan for the department. You know, where we stand now, where we want to move in the future, and working through that strategic planning process, we have a task group that we have put into place to really focus on different areas of the department. One of those main focal points is where our equipment is right now, making sure it's up to date, making sure it's effective, working with new technology, and making sure that, you know, even looking forward into the next 5 years, what equipment we may need to consider as new technologies develop and come forward. So the task group right now, for example, is they've been working, you know, diligently over the last really the last year, trying to figure those things out. And some of the main things they're looking at is moving from gas-powered equipment to more battery-operated equipment. With the new battery-operated technology, provides us with gear and equipment that is lighter and more functional for us to use during emergency situations.
Thank you for that answer. It really gave some insight. I don't typically think about protective gear for firefighters, so I appreciate that insight. Okay, we're going to switch gears just a little bit. So you all know that on a typical National Night Out, there are different celebrations throughout our neighborhoods. So we have some established celebrations in the neighborhood that have been going on for many years. So we've actually invited some community members to be with us tonight. So the first one we're going to hear from is Mr. Harold James. So I'll invite you up here.
All right.
Okay.
Hello, everyone. I'm so glad to be here. Normally about this time on Union Avenue, when we have a national night out, I would probably be at this point about 3 hot dogs down at this time. But because of the C-19, of course, my stomach is growling, and I'm really missing out on that. But one of the great things about our community on Union Avenue, we have actually been doing National Night Out for about 8 years. We always enjoy having the fire department come through, the police department come through. The kids in the neighborhood just love the fire truck. In fact, they get the chance to go in and out of the fire truck. We have the mayor will come through, a lot of other city council people will come through. Every year, Bob Ward is always made a habit coming through to get him a hot dog or a hamburger and whatnot. It's just, we've had fun. One thing we do like about our community is the fact that basically people come out, we get to meet the new neighbors. The old neighbors, they may have different phone numbers, may have different email addresses, so we sort of switch up and just have a great time. And normally we do a little entertainment, and just always been great on Union Avenue. All righty. Thank you guys for letting me come in and talk with you a little bit. Have a great evening.
Thank you, Mr. James. I've heard about your gatherings and your name precedes itself. So I appreciate all the great things you do in the community to make a difference. It takes people like you. Okay, we're gonna get into a couple more questions and then we'll hear a little bit more from another community member. So this question is for Chief Smythe. Is there a plan to have, or do we have body cameras for all of our officers?
Yeah, that's a great question. I think we get asked that semi-regularly, and the answer is yes, we do. We have body cameras. We actually established our program under a state grant in 2016. So for the last at least 3 years, pushing into 4 years, we've had body-worn cameras. They're worn by our staff that are lieutenant and below. Those are the officers and employees that are in the field regularly. I've got 4 captains, and then there's 3 chiefs, and we didn't buy them for us as a cost saving. I think this year we'll probably go out and get them. That way we're leading from the front. So you see a body camera on me and on a captain maybe at a meeting or whatever. But yeah, they're absolutely deployed, 100% effective for us. We manage that technology well. The officers are required to turn them on every time they're on a call for service. You know, it might not be on if they're going to lunch or, you know, getting gas. So it's not appropriate to have them on 100% of the time. Plus the data storage for that kind of usage would be cost prohibitive, but we wear them all the time on calls. There's no way for an officer to erase the footage off a camera. It's all captured in a system that's Loctite, and it's not like they can take a tape out of the trunk of the car like you could maybe 15 or 20 years ago with a car camera. So we have the cameras, we use them regularly. There's a state law that applies to the release and dissemination and people watching those. So we comply fully with that state law. If you're ever in an interaction with a police officer and want to see what you look like on camera, you're welcome to come down to the police station and fill out a form. It might take us a day to get it uploaded and queued up, but you can come back in and we'll show you what you look like on camera. We use that footage to resolve citizen complaints. We don't get many complaints each year, but when we do, the first thing we do is go right to that body-worn camera and look at that footage, and that helps us resolve the issues and move forward in a positive way. So, yep, we've got cameras, we use them, and thank you so much for that question.
Thank you for your answer, your in-depth answer. I know body cams are like a mystery to a lot of people, and so I appreciate hearing that about Burlington, knowing that in the current climate of our culture, we can be reassured that Burlington's a leader in that respect. So thank you.
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, another question. This is for fire. Due to increased violence in our society, is the fire department going to get bulletproof vests for their personnel?
Thank you, Bobby. In fact, prior to my arrival, Deputy Chief Lawrence and Assistant Chief Haney worked on some budgeting items to acquire ballistic protection vests for our firefighters. We have not received those yet, but they have been ordered. They should be here in the near future. And the reason for ordering those vests is to add an additional layer of protection for our firefighters across various incidents that we come encounter with. In fact, I'd like to introduce Deputy Chief Lawrence and allow him to speak just a little bit further about the reasoning behind that.
Yeah, thank you, Chief. So basically, these vests are just an additional piece of equipment that we need to supply our folks with, as they can have in their toolbox to pull out when conditions warrant that, for their safety. So as we've been considering these, we have been really cognizant about our look and the way we might be portrayed in ballistics protection by the community. We don't want to seem overly aggressive with that. However, we do need to provide that layer of protection for our folks in certain circumstances. So we found a good solution that integrates well with our existing uniform and our turnout gear. So they're not overly obtrusive, yet they provide great protection for our folks. So as Chief Mabin mentioned, we are expecting those any day now. And as soon as those are in, we'll have those available and on our apparatus for our folks to implement when the time is needed.
Thank you so much. Okay, it's time to hear from another community member, from a wonderful lady who I know and is very active in the community, Miss Ramona Allen.
Good evening to you all. It is awesome. Hi, Chief, and all the others. Chief Mevin, getting to see you for the first time. But National Night Out, I've been working with the community for many of you, numerous years, 17 at Eastbrook, and then my transition during this pandemic to Beaumont Apartments. So I've been able to interact with communities coming from an area where crime was a issue to where now crime is almost a pastime. National Night Out has developed and community in ways that we did never think that would. It gives us a chance to get to know that person that you may have had an opinionated about, but once you get together and over a hot dog or over a drink, or just over the kids from the bounce houses to entertainments, the fire department coming out, we've seen community come together. And it's also caused us not just to cause just one night to be a night of celebration and gathering. It's also instituted us doing other things during the year. So it's branched out to let us know that we're not a community just on one night, that we're community every day. So, you know, I really have enjoyed being in this community. I've been here all my life, and just seeing how it's grown, how things have changed, and also seeing how it's knitted together with different agencies, and especially the police department, knowing that, you know, you feel safe. And many people don't understand a lot of things that go on, but it's because people have become more involved. They've become more concerned. It takes a village to raise a child. So we understand we were raised in a time where the neighbor was the mama and the neighbor. They helped raise each other's children. And once we started doing things that even to bring that back, that means when they seen a child in the road, they didn't have to be their child. So now they're going out and helping that person, because now they're bridging that gap. So National Night Out, I hate it's not where we're not able to be in a place where we're actually touchable, but I believe that in the future we'll be in that aspect, but it helps us to regroup. And so when we get to come out this next time, we'll come back out even stronger than before. So thank you for allowing me to speak, and I hope everyone stays safe, and I'm looking forward to the next time we're gathering together.
Ms. Ramona, if you don't mind, I'll put you on the spot a little bit. Could you tell us about maybe a favorite memory from National Night Out in the past?
Well, I've had a lot of favorite memories, but I guess I was at Eastbrook when we had a National Night Out, and it was cool. It wasn't really a warm night, but the kids were out. You would have thought that it was summertime. They were outside. They took their shoes off. They were jumping in the bounce houses. They had popcorn going. They had Lamont Hatfield had bought out this bounce houses, popcorn, cotton candy. We had hot dogs, and they even had s'mores that night. And so it was just seeing a place that goes from a neighborhood over 20 years ago that people were kind of fearful even to come outside, to a neighborhood that everybody's child, we actually had to tell them it was time to go home. So that was a very memorable time that we had with the National Night Out.
Thank you.
Ms. Ramona and Mr. Harold, thank you both for joining us tonight. It's so nice to interact, and this is a stopgap for us, a best case out of a worst case. So thank you both for being here tonight. We really appreciate it.
Thank you. Okay, y'all ready for some more questions from the community?
Ready.
All right, this is a fire question. Do you offer CPR training to the public?
Thank you, Bobby. We get that question quite a bit. And before I introduce my fire marshal, Chief Greg Britt, Assistant Chief Greg Britt, I just want to throw it out there real quick that normally we have a Citizens Fire Academy, which we've rebranded. It's now the Burlington Fire Community Fire Academy. And during that, we offer several weeks for our community members to come in to learn about the fire department, the fire service, and what we do. We also allow those members to also drive fire trucks. We take them through our burn building. We feed you all, and we do just a host of things, teach you how to use fire extinguishers, and it's coming back real soon. So all the members that are online now, and I'm looking at about 48, I'm hoping 40 of you are going to sign up. 8 of you have already participated. So if not, we've got a list, and we'll be reaching out to you. But back to the CPR question, what I'll do is turn it over to Chief Greg Britt and let him speak on that just a little bit.
Thank you, Chief Maven, and thank you for this very important question. Historically, we have not provided CPR training to the public, but however, there are agencies in the community that provide this type of certification training, like Red Cross and independent contractors. We do provide free to the citizens. We provide smoke alarm installs, car seat checks and installs, and help provide evacuation plans and fire drills. So those services are available. But I do thank you for that question.
Thank you for that answer. I knew about the car seats, but not the other thing. And I need to look more into that fire academy because can I come?
We'd love to have you. We'd love to have you.
All right. The next question is for police. All right. How do you feel about having mental health experts on the force that can go to a call that requires their expertise?
Yeah, that's a huge asset for us. I think a number of people don't know that we have this program. So for us, we call it the Law Enforcement Crisis Counselor. So we have one person currently in that role. I think we were one of the first police entities in the state to do this. We've had a person able to hop in the car and go out on a mental commitment or some kind of mental health call. We've been doing this since 2016, so almost 4 years now. You know, the first couple of times the person was available, I think the cops were like, who is this? I mean, because, you know, we rolled it out, but they didn't quite know how it would work. And after maybe the second or third call, the cops were telling each other, man, call this person. They took the whole thing. I didn't have to go to the hospital and wait with anybody. They did this. They smoothed the skids and got the person into the treatment plan they needed. And since then, we've been on, I almost said we've been on fire. I got all these fire guys here. I can't say we've been on fire, but I guess I'll say that we've been working it regularly, right? So the newest person in that role, his name is Jamal. And I hear all the time on the radio, is Jamal available? Call Jamal, get him out here. He's gonna handle this. He's gonna make this work. And you know, he really does. You know, we have a few people that pop back up time after time. They're maybe call a frequent caller. And so Jamal's on a first name basis with those people, and he comes out and he says, hey, how you doing today? And, you know, we talked last month, and what are we doing this month? And how do we make sure you're getting the best care? And maybe a guardian gets involved. And it's so wonderful to free up the police resources to go do real public safety issues and let these counseling and mental health issues fall on the shoulders of somebody who's really highly trained to do that work. And so again, I'm going to point to the support of City Council, that they recognize the need to augment the other services available from other social sectors. And so we have this person now on contract with us that's able to hop in the car and go to the call. So he's got a radio and a computer and all the communication tools, and has formed partnerships with the police officers. So we know what each side of this is going to do. And it really makes the public much safer. It makes the officer safer. It's just a better outcome all around. So we've been strategizing this year about how to expand that program. I think we'll see that in the future. We'll continue to grow it and make sure that we're providing the best services to the community.
That's great. My question was about expansion, so it's good to hear that we're moving toward that.
Yeah, we're working in that direction, so we're hopeful.
Awesome. Thank you, Chief.
You bet.
All right, we have a fire question. Do we have adequate rolling stock, which is solid and dependable vehicles here in Burlington?
Thank you, Bobby. In fact, we do. To kind of give you a little background on the Burlington Fire Department, right now we have 6 stations, and there's throughout the city. They're strategically located throughout the city. In fact, we have 6 engines, 2 reserves, 2 ladder trucks, a heavy rescue, and 2 battalion cars to provide service to our approximately 55,000 residents. We do have a preventative maintenance plan to keep up with those equipment, or our equipment that we have, to continue to provide service on a continuous basis. I have my Assistant Chief of Operations on here, whom I've introduced at least once already, but Travis Handy will be able to speak to that just a little bit more in depth for us tonight.
Okay.
Right, thanks, Chief. Yeah, our fleet is strong right now. We're in good shape there. Like you said, we got 2 reserve apparatus. We're in the process of replacing our oldest engine right now. We just recently placed an order to replace a 2008 model engine. The unique thing about buying a fire truck, it's not like buying a car off a car lot. They're custom made, and it takes anywhere from 14 to 16 months from the time you put the purchase order in to receive that truck. So we're hopeful that we'll see our new truck somewhere toward the end of 2021 or early 2022. But we do a lot of preventative maintenance on the trucks. We make sure that they are ready to roll anytime that they're called. You know, just a little plug for see the light, pull to the right. We put a lot of brakes on our trucks, believe it or not. So we go through brakes. That's a big thing that has a lot of turnaround for us. So like I said, a little plug there for if you see the light, pull to the right. But yeah, we're good. Our fleet's strong.
Andy, does that apply to the blue lights behind you too? You're supposed to pull over for the blue lights too, right? Both colors?
The signs have fire trucks on them, Chief, but you know, you can adjust them as you need to.
Right on.
Okay, so y'all heard them. You see the lights, pull to the right. We want to preserve our brakes on our vehicles.
Bobby, we can add one more thing in here. I think time will allow. Chief Haney, can you speak to a little bit about our responses from dispatch to the time that we need to be on scene of working incidents, kind of what that national model looks like and what we try to accomplish on a standard basis?
Sure. So what's interesting is from the time that we receive the dispatch, no matter what our folks are doing around the stations, in the stations, out in the public, wherever they may be, they have to be on the truck, or we ask them to be on the truck within 60 seconds of receiving the call. And that's slide the poles or whatever, get their gear on, get on the truck, and have the truck moving within 60 seconds of receiving the call. And from that point, our standard is for them to focus on being on the scene within 4.5 minutes of the truck starting to move. So, you know, the quick math is 5.5 minutes from receiving the call. It is our objective to have those folks on the scene providing assistance or mitigating that incident, whatever it may be. And those are national standards. Those times are created on a national level for us. Our goal is to hit those goals at least 90% of the time. And we've been working really hard. It goes back to our strategic plan. One of our focal points is making sure that we are providing the services in a reasonable amount of time for the citizens when they call for us. So that is a critical point for us. So when you see firefighters scrambling, that's usually what it's about.
Thank you, Chief. Bobby, I wanted to highlight that and underscore that for the simple importance of while we try to maintain, you know, preventive maintenance on our equipment, and Chief Handy, you know, highlighting and plugging, see the light, pull to the right. This is why, you know, as an emergency response service organization, we want to get you to help as quick as possible. And that's also why our stations are strategically located throughout our city. and all of it really matters. You know, every bit of it matters. So if you see us coming, definitely try to pull over. We're going to drive as safe as possible to get you the assistance that we need to get to you.
And thank you so much for sharing that. Just reinforces the fact that we're all community. Everybody matters. We're all working together.
Absolutely.
Whether we wear the uniform or not.
Absolutely.
Chief Mebane, it's funny, I hadn't heard you say your numbers, but our numbers are almost identical. We shoot for about the 5.5 minute mark. We don't have to jump on a truck, we're already in the car, but because of the way we're dispersed in our beats patrolling the area, we still have a very similar 5 to 5.5 minute mark to get on scene for the critical calls, right? If you've got a stolen bike or something, right, that's not gonna happen. But when life's in jeopardy, we're going to get there in 5 minutes or less is about what we're looking at. And every 2 weeks, I look at a report for the outliers, and then we drill down, right? Was it a communications issue that we took too long getting the phone call, or did it not get pushed to an officer quick enough, or was the officer out of position and couldn't get there fast enough, right? So we look at all of those segments, and I know you guys do the same. You've got the Firehouse software that helps you drill into what goes on. So we're both coming at the same problem. To get there and keep people safe in a safe and timely manner, right?
We do, absolutely. Chief Smith, I did not recognize that or realize that either. So that's great to hear. I'm learning tonight as well.
Yeah.
Thank you all so much for sharing that. All right, we have one more question, and this is probably the most important for my 6-year-old. The question is, what do we want folks to know about having a safe Halloween this year? It looks so different. Because of COVID. So would you all shed some light on how we can have a safe Halloween this year?
Yeah, I'll be glad to jump in. So one of the most pressing issues that we realize is obviously a reaction to where we are now is COVID-19. I would ask if you have COVID-19 to please refrain from trick-or-treating in person. And I would also ask that everyone be safe, hold hands, watch your little ones and big ones as they cross the road. And just be mindful of where you are and what you have going on, and enjoy it.
Yeah, no doubt. I think the police reminder is the same every year. So let's take COVID out of the equation for a minute. If you're going to go trick or treating, we ask that the younger kids go earlier when it's still daylight and there's some time to make sure everybody's safe. As we get into the dusk and maybe the littlest kids go home and some of the bigger kids are out, we want to carry a flashlight, wear reflective clothing. Cross only at intersections, don't wander out in the road. Those safety reminders are universal every single year. And now we bring back in then the lens of COVID-19. And so, there are some state level resources that point to restrictions about the size of parties. If you have outdoor parties and indoor parties, I think indoors 25 people or less and outdoors is 50 people or less. We ask that everybody follow those guidelines, right? That there's they're in place to protect everyone. So continue to wear a mask, wash your hands frequently, follow those guidelines, and let's just keep it safe for everybody. We want everybody coming home every single night, including Halloween night. We've got a few minutes. Let me throw one to Jay. So normally National Night Out is in August, right? And we're nowhere near Fire Safety Week, but we're bumped into October, so y'all have some special things going on, don't you, for fire safety?
In fact, we do. Tonight, we actually will be receiving our proclamation for Fire Prevention Week.
Sweet.
At the council meeting. So everyone in attendance is welcome to attend the council meeting tonight via YouTube and watch our department receive that proclamation, which is an annual proclamation that we receive. Fire Prevention Week is actually an interesting week, and I don't want to steal a lot of thunder from a fire marshal, so I'll let him jump in now and just talk about that, the theme behind Fire Prevention Week this week, and also some additional measures to share with everyone in attendance about home safety and fire safety in general. Chief Brett, if you will.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Chief Mebane, and thank you for that intro into Fire Prevention Week, which is a very important time for all of us. Normally, our staff is out in the schools during this week, and the upcoming weeks, we're in all the schools in the city, giving out free fire safety information to the kids. This year, we've had to change a little bit due to COVID. This coming weekend at Fire Station number 6 at Bonner Bridge from 9 to 12, we have a drive-through event where we're giving out it's a good goodie bag for the kids with a lot of neat stuff in it. We also have information for the adults on cooking safety. This year's theme is serving up safety in the kitchen. So we're really emphasizing on not leaving your food unattended, making sure you're aware of what's going on, your pot handles turned away and things like that. So thank you very much for that intro, Chief Mevin. And this is a very important week for us. So please, everyone out there listening, if you get a chance, come by this Saturday from 9 to 12, Fire Station number 6 on Bonner Bridge, and receive a nice goodie bag. Thank you.
Chief, thank you for that. And just one more thing I want to share with everyone in attendance. Smoke alarms do save lives. And unfortunately, as a fire marshal, I had the uneventful opportunities to go on some house fires where I had to witness some fatalities, some as a result of non-working smoke alarms. So I would ask that you check your smoke alarms, test them every month, change your batteries once a year, and make sure you change your smoke alarm out every 10 years. If you have any questions about that, you can contact myself, Deputy Chief Lawrence, or Assistant Chief Greg Britt, and we could talk to you about that. We could also talk to you about carbon monoxide alarm and the way that you're heating for this coming winter season. Making sure you're keeping 3 foot of clearance around all your heaters for this winter. And like I said, if you have any questions, please feel free to reach out to us. We're an open book for you. We want to share the information with you to keep you safe. And we look forward to seeing you next year.
Yeah, Bobby, I'll jump in. I've got a couple of items to clean up. So I think I should have taken my cue card from the new chief on the block and brought more staff on the call with me. So they would have reminded me first on the law enforcement crisis counselor. I completely forgot Tamisha. We have a brand new crisis counselor that just started last month, and her focus is exclusively youth. So Tamisha, I'm so sorry. I think I owe you lunch or something probably for this one, right? Because you're hard at work. You've already had 20 or 30 calls in just a couple of weeks and really taking care of the young people on the mental health side. So we're excited about that opportunity. So I forgot Tamisha. I apologize. The next one to clean up is I was reminded that, we talked about trick-or-treating a little bit, but really the best option probably for parents is to not go trick-or-treating, right? It's a high-risk activity. The governor, I think, maybe pointed that out. And so, your dentist would probably tell you your kids don't need the candy anyway. Go for a nice, healthy walk. Don't knock on any doors. Don't pick up the candy. Don't expose yourself to some other folks that might have the virus, and have a safe night without knocking on a bunch of doors and trick-or-treating. That's probably the best reminder in order to keep people safe. And then I threw the pop fly to Chief Mebane on fire safety. So I'm going to take my own pop fly and say that also at the council meeting tonight, I'll be online talking just very briefly and then soliciting some public comments about our community police advisory team. So we're kind of pulling that back out and trying to restart a group of active community members who really want to contribute in meaningful ways to having a better police department. And so we've proposed we proposed a charter document, I guess. We're going to be talking about that at the council meeting tonight. My email's available at our police department webpage. You can find a police reform tab and look at the charter there. You can fill out a link with comments. Lots of ways that you can provide feedback. You can speak at the council meeting tonight. You can speak at the council meeting in a couple of weeks. We're really excited about an opportunity to connect with a broad base of citizens who can collaborate with us, right? Would you like to see us do more training? Would you like us to have more social workers? Would you like us to make less traffic stops, right? Whatever the community wants us to do, we're going to do our very best to adapt to those messages. And we're calling it the CPAT, the Community Police Advisory Team, is, we think, a great mechanism to do that. So we're excited about that opportunity. It's upcoming. It's still being developed, and everybody's got a shot to help tell us what we ought to be doing there. So we're excited about that. And with that, I think I'm done, and I'll turn it back over to you, Bobby. You might have some of the other community relations folks there in your hip pocket with some other reminders, and take us home.
All right, I think we have one more announcement. Gonna call
All right.
Here, he's gonna pop in.
Good evening, Burlington Chiefs. Thank y'all for letting me take just a second. I had to step across a few wires to jump in for just a moment. Just give a plug out for our ongoing community academy. We've got several of attendees tonight because we took the first hour to do National Night Out for our community academy. Both the fire and the police have those academies, and they're a great opportunity to learn about what goes on day to day and create a relationship with both of our agencies inside there. The plug that I would put out for you is that just like I tell our community academy attendees, you're a force multiplier for both fire and police. We need your eyes in the community. We need your voice in the community. If you would like to volunteer, we try to grow our volunteer ranks also and look at the different plugs that we're putting out there. So I just would end with is be active in the community, get to know your neighbors, knock on the door. When you see somebody's grass is grown, instead of calling code enforcement, check on your neighbor. They may be sick and not be able to mow their yard. Whatever that is, that's that growing the relationships in our community that we really need instead of being so polarized in our climate, in our culture today. We have a great community that we live in, and we truly appreciate folks attending tonight virtually. Hate that we can't, just like everybody else said. I've missed, I thought about Crestview. That's my memory. Crestview always has a big fish fry over off of Beaumont Avenue, and I love to go over there and visit with those folks and eat a little piece of fish with them because they cook great fish. So that was my memory for National Night Out. I'd like to thank you for coming also, and I'll close it out for Bobby, if that's okay, with that thank you for attending National Night Out.
Thanks, everybody. Have a great night. And I hope to see you at a barbecue in August next year.
Absolutely.
We appreciate everyone from Burlington Fire Department. Thank you all for attending.